Yeah. I really do think that 2012 had a lot to do with what we're seeing going on the planet now. I really do. I think so many people in the spiritual community really had their hopes pegged on that magical December 21st, 2012 thing. And honestly, there were people out there who literally thought they were going to ascend, like, I don't know, hit midnight. Like they were going to disappear. It's just crazy. But then, there was so much information all over the internet and so much misinformation that it just got people's hopes up. And it was a beautiful setup for the imprint, because coming off of it, it was like, it was the imprint. The collective ego hit that wall, and it was like, oh my God. And then it just went spiraling. And then a lot of them, I think, just kind of gave up. Why bother? Like, here we thought this was it. Because is there anything else after the end of the Mayan calendar? Is there anything else in the collective that's being taught as far as like the next big goal? Like the end of the Mayan calendar had a date set to it, right? Yeah. People could look at that like, oh, okay, I just got to make it to there. Yeah. And then after that, there's nothing after it.
Where is it?
And everyone's going, oh no. Yeah, I can't keep that up. That was hard, holding that space for those 2 or 3 years. And you're going to ask me to do that indefinitely? I don't think I'm up to that. Like, I think that was a lot of the subconscious conversation going on. Like, screw
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I could see where people would be so disappointed that nothing big happens. Yes. And then you're right. There's not another like end goal to meet.
Yep.
And it's like, well, what now?
Right. Until the next one is created. And so I'm sure at some point someone's going to come forth and say, 2021, that's the big year, and then it'll ramp people up again. But right now we're in this definite lull, and, but that's where people are at. So for those of us who can see beyond it, for those of us who actually experienced the shifting that did take place coming off of December 21st, and it was major. It really was major. You don't have to convince us to keep forging ahead, because that's what we're doing. It's just, we have to be realistic about the fact that most people, even in the spiritual community, are not ready to meet us where we're at. Not right now. So our job is to keep showing up. We keep showing up, and the few people that come, one at a time who are ready, and they come and fabulous. And now we're one stronger. And hopefully at a certain point, that tipping point happens, and then they start coming in masses and finding their niches, and engaging that way. Until then, what we have to do is we just have to keep showing up with no expectation and no attachment, nothing that says it's not working because no one's coming. And, you just keep doing what in your heart you're being called to do. That's the important part. Don't give up just because people aren't walking through the door. And that can be challenging. So depending on, however you're doing your thing, depending on how it's set up, if it's meant to also be a source of revenue, it's challenging. It's very challenging. And most people doing the level of work that we do or something similar are absolutely experiencing the financial challenges, because people aren't really ready to understand the value of what we offer. And, they'll easily and gladly give their money over to Starbucks for, a scone and a big cup of coffee. But to pay for someone to facilitate my meditation, or to pay for sitting in the energy of satsang or whatever it is that other people do, they don't see the value yet. Now, of course, when you're in it, you completely see the value, but until you're ready, you won't see it. So we have to be careful that we don't fall into that worldly dynamic that says that numbers of people showing up or amount of money made is a direct reflection of how effective we are, because that's not accurate. And that's dangerous to use that as your calibration system, because it just isn't going to be like that. What we're looking at doing is bringing in a whole level of perception and functioning that doesn't come from this world. You understand? It doesn't come from here. And we're here to anchor it here. Well, you can't anchor it here using the same rules of the world and expect that it's going to work. It doesn't work like that. I mean, and that makes sense, right? Why would it? Of course it's not going to work like that. It's going to work the way it works. So we have to be willing to have some faith and say, I can't understand the why and the how of it and how it's all going to work itself out. Like, it's not my job. My job is just to do the part that I've been given to do. And if I was here to lead, then I'm going to lead. And if I was here to be someone who works with the leader and handles a lot of the daily tasks or whatever, like, that's what I'm going to show up to do. And we all have our roles, and we play our roles, and, enjoy life and just be present. It's all good. And you just do it, because no one has the time frame. I don't care what anybody says. No one has the time. The parallel timelines are constantly, overlapping each other and crossing each other. And there's no way to see that far out to know what the collective is going to end up choosing ultimately. So there's no way to see that ultimate timeline. So you just show up and do your part, whatever that is.
Okay.